If you are someone who's looking to start a job at a Big Four after graduation or making a career switch to the consulting, then look no further. This might be the video just for you. Hey friends, and welcome back to the channel. If you are new here, my name is Zubair. I'm a finance professional based in KSA, and on this channel we talk about strategies and tools that will help you further your career and allow you to develop professionally as well as personally. And in today's video we will be looking at strategies that I implemented on getting an interview with Deloitte UK in the consulting division, and what I did to get through the interviews and reach the final round. Just a disclaimer, I did not get this job, and yes, I reached to the final round, and based upon that I got the feedback from the recruiter, which we will be discussing at the end of the video. So the first thing I'd like to start with is that a lot of people just go right off the bat and start applying on jobs that are available on LinkedIn as well as the career page of the Big Four. So one thing that I did differently was that get a referral from a friend of mine who was already working there. So yes, referrals work the best when it comes to Big Four, and they really want to get people that they can trust because somebody is referring them. And there's also a referral bonus for the person who might be getting you hired. So yeah, that is another incentive, that people will only refer the best of the best talent. So that was the first thing that actually worked in my favor. And the other thing that was a bit against me was that I was applying to Deloitte UK from KSA, and yeah, so it's a bit hard for the Big Fours, but not impossible when it comes to sponsoring individuals across countries. So when it comes to the interviews of Big Four, they are pretty much standard, and I will be discussing my experience with Deloitte because that is where I had applied to. But you can take this experience and apply it across all of the Big Fours because their hiring and interviewing process is pretty much the same standard. So the role that I was applying for was in consulting and as a consultant. So one of the things that you might be confused by is the different titles that a lot of Big Fours might be using. But when it comes to consulting, so they require a certain amount of experience before they can put you in the field, because they need subject matter experts or people who are experts in their field, so that when they go to the client they know what they're talking about. And that is why whenever you will apply to consulting, most of the times you will be starting from the very bottom. But yes, they can give you a faster, you can say, career progression. So the interview round for most Big Fours would look like they would have 4 rounds. So the first round is going to be with the recruiter or the HR manager. The second round is mainly going to be with the manager who you will be working directly with, which is going to be mainly focusing on the technical side. The third round is usually a case study, and you will get introduced to a senior manager who will be taking your feedback on the case study and then going further into more in-depth analysis. And then the final round is with the partner, which is mostly a casual chat. And as the interview keeps progressing, the requirement is going to change a bit. So the first round is going to be the HR/recruiter interview round, and that is a pretty standard round. And what's going to happen is that the HR person is going to walk through your CV and ask you a couple of questions, that why do you want to join Deloitte and what has your experience been so far. And yes, they do still ask the British questions that tell us about yourself, and that is something that you'll have to practice. But if you are someone who are just starting out and you don't have much of an experience to talk about the projects that you might have done during your universities. But if you are an experienced candidate, then you would have a lot much to go on about. The one tip that I'm going to give for this round is that you don't need to go in depth, because the HR person just needs to make sure that you are the right candidate and you will get along with the team and you have the right set of skills that would be enough to fulfill the job. So the recruiter is just there to make sure that you are the right candidate that they're looking for. So no need to go in depth, and just walk them through your CV and you should be good to go. Now the second round is going to be a bit more technical, because most of the times it is with the hiring manager. So what happens is that the hiring manager is going to go into as much detail as possible. And for this round, my recommendation is to always follow the STAR format. So if some of you might not be aware, the STAR format is a technique which most of the Big Fours and consulting firms look for when interviewing candidates. So the S stands for the situation, the tasks, the action, and the result. So no matter what kind of experience you have, whenever you are explaining your experience to the hiring manager, always follow this format, because it makes it very easier for them to track that you have the right skill set, and they can easily identify the information that they're looking for. In most cases, candidates tend to give a lot more information that they actually need to, but during that time you are in interview mode and you don't know the kind of information that you need to exclude or include. So my advice is always follow the star format, and it becomes a lot easier for you as well as the interviewer. In my case, I had to give 3 examples which were to show that I have the right kind of skill set for this job. And one of the things that I did before starting the hiring manager's round was go on the website and look for the job description. And I went through the job description and I tried to link it with my experience and my resume, that what was the experience that I already had was very relevant to the kind of skills that they were looking for. And once I had created that link, from there on I started creating those stories, and all of those stories were based upon the star format. And it goes without saying that I passed that round, and it went a bit above time. That interview was supposed to be for an hour and it lasted an hour and a half, which is in most cases a good sign that shows that the interviewer is interested on what you have to say and they want to learn more about it. So again, the pro tip for this round is that always follow the star format and link your stories to the job description and you will be good to go. And the third round now is the case study round. So if you guys might not be aware that I did another interview with Mars Wrigley, which was in 2021, and I failed, and the round that became my nemesis was the case study round. So I was well aware that I need to improve on that. And in case if you haven't watched that video already, you can check that out, my interview experience with Mars Wrigley, where I clearly explained that what was the thing that I did wrong during the case study. And so this time around I had made sure that I am well prepared for it. So one of the tips that I can give you for the case study round is that you always need to understand what the requirement of the task is. So just don't jump directly into the case study, and you also have a chance to ask them. But again, coming back to the job description, so what I did this time around was that I looked at the job description once or twice before this round as well, and then made sure that the kind of skill set that they're looking for. And then when I got the case study, I started mapping those skill set onto the case study. So the thing with case study is that it is sort of like an open world format, so you can tackle it in any way possible. So what the interviewer is looking for is that you tackle it in the way that they want you to tackle it. So this is something that is not very clear, but yes, you are again working with assumptions. But like I said, that the best way to have a concrete assumption is that you look at the job description. So this time around, this is what I exactly did. I made sure that what they were looking for, and then how can I extract that information from the case study and then put it into a presentation and then present that information to the hiring manager. And again, like, it takes some practice. There are also some websites that you can go to that have free case studies, and then there are also some coaches that help you with specifically with the case study format, although they can be a bit expensive at times. But yes, so if you need that, get help from those resources as well. From my own personal experience, what I mainly did was that looked at different YouTube channels and different videos that were giving advice on how to tackle the case study, and then again, like, focusing very much on the job description. And yes, so what I did was that once I had finished my case study and then prepared the presentation, so that interview also went very, very well. And what happened was that when I did the presentation, the manager really liked it. And then during the interview, you also get sort of a feedback, like they're not actually saying it, but then you can tell that from their body language that whether they're interested to know more about you or not. So that is always a positive sign as well. And then again, so I passed the third round. I got the feedback from the recruiter that I will be moving to the final round. Now, so for most of the people, if you have already reached the final round, so it goes without saying that 80 to 90% of the time you will get that job. The company who's interviewing, they've invested time in you, and you have been shortlisted among, let's say, if 100 people applied for it. So once you get selected for the first round, so let's say after those 100, 10 people are getting selected. And then as you move higher up into the round, less and less people become, like, most of the people get eliminated and only very few candidates remain. So if you have made it to the final round, so this means it's either you and one other candidate, and it's between them. And there are very few things that can go wrong. And in my case, when I got the feedback from the recruiter, I was extremely disappointed, because that is something that I thought that I had really worked on, and that is something that I wasn't expecting it to be lacking, you can say, in my personality. So the final interview round with the partner is very much like a casual chat, because at that point the partner already knows that your technical capability. You've already passed 2 rounds with the manager and the senior manager, so they have already given the go ahead that you are technically capable to perform the job. So now the partner's job is to make sure that you are the right person who will fit into the culture and the environment of the organization, as well as you are someone that after grooming or working with them for 2 to 3 years, someone that once they promote you, you have the capability of bringing business. And most of the big fours, that is what their ultimate goal is, that you have to have a person, once he becomes a manager, they have the capacity to build relationships, do their networking, and then bring business to the organization. That is what it is all about. And even in some cases, you have big budget businesses that you have to retain. And let's say if a client is not happy with the manager that you're sending on the field, there is a chance that they might actually switch the company that they want to work for, because again, they are paying their money and they want it worth not only with the service that you're providing, but also the kind of people that they have to engage with on a daily basis. So that is what the partner is there to make sure, that you are the right person for this job, and in terms of your social skills and your environmental friendliness, as I would put it. So yeah, so the round is mainly for like half an hour, and they might ask you some logistical questions, that how fast can you join, and like what is your notice period, what kind of salary expectation do you have. Although these things are already covered at the recruitment round, but this is something that the partner can ask again, because this was the things that partner asked me, that whether I would be requiring sponsorship to come to the UK, and like whether, like what is the kind of budget that I'm expecting for, and yeah, so on and so forth. Those were some of the questions that they asked. Other than that, it was a very casual chat, that like, why would you want to join Deloitte, what are the things that you're looking forward to, what are the challenges that you think you might have to face once you join Deloitte. And yeah, so again, as I was going into this round, I was very confident that I will get this job. But unfortunately, once I got the feedback, the first thing that the recruiter told me was that the partner thinks that I lack the social skills that might be required to work in the UK environment, and like I might not be the best representative of Deloitte. So yeah, one of the things, this is like, I was really disappointed with that, because I always thought that I'm a social person, and like when it comes to meeting new people and making those networks or connections with them, I am really good at it. But unfortunately, the partner did not feel that way. And the other thing was that I felt that the other candidates that was available was already in the UK, and I was someone that who might have required sponsorship and a longer time period to actually be on the ground. And this is something that was not said by the recruiter, but that is again my own personal feeling, that this might have been the case as well. But yeah, so in the end, I was told that I lacked the social skills to be a consultant in the UK with Deloitte. And so that was it for me. So the first thing that I appreciated was that overall it was an amazing experience, because on the basis of this experience, I then again applied to another job in the UK, and then I got that job. So I will be talking about that in a future video very time soon. So yeah, so that was one of the things that whenever I get an opportunity to go for an interview, I never say no to it, because you always get that experience, and through experience you can see that what are the things that you did wrong and what are the things that you did right. So now I am very well prepared if I were ever to apply again to Deloitte in the consulting divisions, and then I can take these notes, that what were the things that worked for me and what were the things that did not work for me, and then I can take it from there and I can further improve myself. So that was one of the good things. One of the things that I did not like about this interview was that the waiting time. So the entire interview process took around 3 to 4 months. And again, this wasn't for a senior position, it was for a consultant role. But then again, like, they were taking their time. I do understand that people at the Big Four are usually very busy, and it's very hard to schedule interviews since you have 4 rounds, and then it also includes the partner round. So the partners are always very busy, and even taking half an hour from their working day is can be very tedious. But then again, like 3 to 4 months is a huge amount of time when it comes to hiring just one person, and again, for not even for a senior role. So that is something that I was very disappointed with. Also, the feedback time when it comes to Deloitte is not the most efficient. Like, I've done interviews with a lot of other companies, and they are very fast when it comes to responding to candidates. Even companies like Amazon, they have a 5-day promise, so which means that once they've completed your interview, they would get back to you within 5 working days. And yeah, so the number of people that do apply to Amazon and any other big companies, I can always appreciate that, giving someone a promise that they would get back to you, and they actually do get back to you within that time, is a very big thing. But yeah, when it came to Deloitte, like, most of the times I was just in the dark. Like, I wasn't getting any feedback either from the hiring managers or the recruiter, and there was nothing that I could do, like, only just wait it out, because you don't want to be sending constant emails. Then it might look very, very desperate and might not, set the right tone if you're about to join that company. So my advice is that you just send like a thank you email once you're done with the interview, and you also just reach out to the recruiter, let them know that you've completed all the rounds, so you're looking forward to hearing from them soon. But yeah, like don't follow up on that, or don't just constantly keep following up with them, because they might not appreciate that. And I do understand that a lot of people have too much work on their hands, they're under a lot of pressure. So yeah, but this is something that I think they can greatly improve on. Other thing was that there aren't enough resources directly available through Deloitte, so you always have to go through a paid service where you can learn how to do the interview for Deloitte or the case studies. Whereas I think Deloitte, being a company, they can definitely leave some examples on their websites or their careers blog, that how can people tackle the interviews and what is the best approach. So this is something that would definitely help a lot of candidates, because I know a lot of people apply at Big Fours, and Deloitte being the leader in consulting, especially in the UK and the US, a lot of people like myself would be interested to join them. So guys, those are my tips and tricks that I implemented for my Deloitte interview in the UK consulting division. If you like these kinds of videos, do let me know in the comment section below. And I would also recommend that if you're interested in interview tips, you can check out my video right here on the Mars Wrigley interview experience, the job that I applied for in their KSA office. And if you've enjoyed the content on the channel, please don't forget to like, share and subscribe, and I will see you guys in the next one. Peace.